Get ready to dive deep into Buffalo's vibrant music scene because we're stepping inside the fabulous Flamingo Lounge for the 8th season of local music magic. In the Flamingo Lounge with Rockabilly Greg is more than just a podcast. It's a collection of stories that delves deep into the vibrant musical history of Buffalo and Western New York, creating a living archive where each story adds a unique thread to the overall narrative. This season, we're taking a deep dive into the heart of the music community. Join us for personal conversations with musicians and industry pros where we celebrate the collective creativity that makes our favorite artists, venues, and events so special. But before we get started, I'd like to give a big shout out to our sponsors, CatsLikeUs.com, Diamond Hawk Golf Course and Pub, and valued supporter Buffalo Ironworks for helping to keep the music alive. This week's guest in the Flamingo Lounge, Tod Kniazuk, serves as Artistic Executive Director of the nonprofit music and mentoring organization, The Big Easy in Buffalo, and is planner for Buffalo's Best Kielbasa contest. Tod has been recognized as a top local arts agency leader and has presented at the New York State Public Safety Symposium on grant management and alternative programs. Tod also serves as board president of the Friends of St. Adalbert Basilica, on the Festival Committee for Music is Art, and on the Grants Committee for the Threadhead Cultural Foundation in New Orleans. Tod has a distinguished history as the first executive director of Art Services Initiative of Western New York and the founding executive director of Robby Takac's Music is Art. His prior experience includes advancement at Hauptman-Woodward Medical Research Institute and roles at the UB Regional Institute and Erie County Legislature. He is currently the Senior Grants Manager for the Buffalo Police Department. It is my honor to welcome to the Flamingo Lounge, Tod Kniazuk. Tod.
Hey, good to be here. Good to be here.
Glad to have you here. So I know we've run into each other a few times over the last few months. We got to get you down here. So talk a lot about the Big Easy because that's kind of your big thing now. But
yeah, I'm guessing you had me here for the Big Easy in Buffalo more so than the Buffalo Police Department or the Kielbasa contest.
Yeah, just a little bit. Right. Hey, the Kielbasa contest, so that sounds pretty
that's a good
sweet.
One.
So
that's
any pierogies go with the Kielbasa contest?
Not just Kielbasa for that one. There's a separate pierogi contest.
Oh, there's this.
Yeah.
We my wife and I just did our pierogies for Christmas Eve. So I'm an expert pincher. I haven't had a blowout in 18 years. So
I don't want to talk about that.
But anyway, before we get started, I always like to ask everybody, did you have an aha moment? And I know you're big into music, especially the New Orleans jazz. So what was the thing that kind of made you go, aha, man, music is cool and what I want to do?
Yeah. My aha moment for New Orleans music specifically, because music was always around the household. Mm-hmm. I'm in my early 50s, so my folks were listening to Elvis and other 50s and 60s music, and I especially liked Fats Domino mm-hmm. and artists like that, Lloyd Price, and that kind of syncopated rhythm.
Right. Never
connected it. Fast forward, and now I'm definitely going to be dating myself. I'm at a show at Melody Fair.
There you go.
The headliner was the Robert Cray Band. Mm. So everyone in the audience was there for Robert Cray.
Mm-hmm.
Blues, a little bit of soul, vocals, guitar. And the opening act comes out. And it's a bunch of guys in satin jackets that say the Dirty Dozen Brass Band.
Huh.
There are no guitars, no bass guitars, no keyboards, 2 drums. Not 2 drum kits, 2 drums.
Right.
A bass drum and a snare drum.
Okay.
A tuba, and then trumpet, trombone, and saxophone. And we're all looking at this like, this is not what we're here for. And mm-hmm. by the second or third song, people were up dancing in the aisles. It was early Dirty Dozen Brass Band. They've been around now over 30 years. Okay. We've had them in the series a number of times.
Sure.
But man, the sound was just amazing. It was pure joy.
Mm-hmm.
And so, after their set, I ran out to the merch table and bought every CD they had, all 2 of them, and fell in love. And,
right.
and then I kind of like connected it, right? I'm like,
mm-hmm.
wait a minute. This is the syncopation that I would hear when Fats Domino was playing.
Mm-hmm.
Why is that? Well, because Fats Domino's a New Orleans guy,
right?
And he was doing that syncopation with the heavy left hand and the piano
mm-hmm.
instead of with, the tuba line, right? So
right.
From there, I'm like, okay, this is interesting. And the next year, Melody Fair had a touring package that was only around for a couple of years. the people who put together the New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Foundation or Jazz Fest, they had like a touring package deal. So Dirty Dozen was back, Terrence Simeon and the Zydeco Experience, the Iguanas, some Mardi Gras Indians, just this lineup of New Orleans music. The food was made by chefs from New Orleans. The crafts were New Orleans. So it was like a touring jazz fest. And so every band I heard that day just added to it.
Right.
And that was it, man. Like between those experiences and especially hearing it live.
Right.
Like, I'm like Zydeco, Beau Soleil was on it. So Cajun, funk and jazz and all of this good stuff. And that's the rabbit hole. Like, it just went down there from there.
Sure.
But my first times in New Orleans was like most tourists, Mardi Gras. But I still loved the music part, the brass bands rolling down the street with the parades and such. Eventually switched over to Jazz Fest and French Quarter Fest. And it really just, that became one of my things. And it's interesting because like New Orleans music means so many things. Louisiana music means so many things.
Sure.
And so when we put together the Big Easy in Buffalo, the idea was that we present the depth and breadth of Louisiana music. Because, that's trad jazz, and it's brass band, and it's Zydeco, and it's Cajun, but it's Americana, and it's blues, and it's funk, and it's even bounce music. It's just all of those things, but there's something distinct about the way it's played if it comes from Louisiana.
That's interesting. I always love to talk about that, that thing that makes, honky tonk and country. And, we talk about BR 549 and Brian Setzer and what sets, rockabilly from rock and roll and, just those little teeny things that it when you hear it, right?
Exactly.
And sometimes, if you're not, I'm not as well studied as probably I would like to be, but I know it's like, that's honky tonk. That's not country and western. That's a honky tonk song, and you just kind of know it, and I don't know why, if it's a beat, if it's an instrument, if
it's all of the above usually, right?
Exactly.
I mean, because you can have the same instrument.
Exactly.
I mean, like a great example of that is one year we had Cedric Watson in, Cajun fiddle player, but a younger guy, African-American guy, which was very uncommon for Cajun music, much more Zydeco music. And we brought him into Performing Arts High School and had him sit down with a classical violin class.
Okay.
Well, now he's playing the same instrument, but he's not, because he's not playing violin. He's playing fiddle.
Right. Yeah.
And, these kids who are learning violin, who are learning all classical music, maybe the tiniest bit of jazz, but I doubt it.
Right.
All of a sudden, here comes this guy, first off, that looked like them, that wasn't too far off age-wise, and he just starts stomping his feet and playing out a Cajun tune and singing in French, and the kids were like, "Oh, we can do that too?"
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I just had Charlie Coughlin on the show, and we were talking a lot about that. When does a violin become a fiddle? And do you have to learn fiddle style because that's where the money is? Because there's not a lot of classical musicians out there, or at least opportunities for classical like there is for Americana and fiddle music. So
although even that's interesting, right? Because violin, right away you think classical, but at Music is Art at the festival this year, one of the bands on my stage was a band called Kenyela. And they're a 5-piece because they'll use a percussionist,
right? But
the front line are 4 women, and they're playing bass and viola and violin. But they're playing a little bit of jazz. They're playing a lot of like tango and Argentinian and Latin music. So the idea that it's classical or it's fiddle,
sure,
just like accordion, right? I mean, hey, I'm a Polish guy, right?
Right.
But accordion, like growing up, accordion was always polka. Well, that's only because I didn't, dive into all of the other ethnic European music, because accordion is also obviously German and Italian and many other cultures. But then you get into Tejano music.
Yeah.
And, you get into some of the great things. I'm thinking of, of the Mavericks now. And
I know.
And,
I was going to say that with Raul's recent passing.
Yeah, and so accordion, but now bring it back to the Big Easy in Buffalo. And it's Zydeco and it's Cajun. And boy, like, you see someone like C.J. Chenier, Terrence Simeon, or Dwayne Dupsy, Buckwheat Zydeco Jr. we just had up.
Right.
They get on that accordion and they're tearing it up.
Yeah.
They're playing the blues, they're playing rock and roll, they're playing all of that good stuff.
Yeah.
And it's like, here's this Polish kid that was like, wait a minute, what happened to Frankie Yankovic?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and Captain Tom, man, he's killing it out there.
Oh,
Young guy on the accordion, you know?
Yeah. We've done a few things with Captain Tom. We enjoy having him. He's actually usually the musical guest for the Kielbasa contest.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, talk about a musical family. Holy smokes. But so let's kind of go back. So you've really been involved in the arts side of things. I know we mentioned ASI and music as art. So how did you kind of get involved in, and it just seems like you are into the nonprofit sector, really community-based stuff.
Yeah, definitely the community-based stuff. My folks, by their day jobs, they were, a steel worker and an accountant or working in accounting. But they were always very community-minded. They ran with a few other folks, the United Citizens Organization in the Broadway Fillmore neighborhood in the 70s and 80s. And they really instilled in me the idea that you try to give back and you try to do good. Mm-hmm. And what that was going to look like for me, I wasn't sure. Mm-hmm. And I didn't start off in the nonprofit world. I started at the Erie County Legislature. Okay. But tried to work on things there that had a little meaning. I mean, obviously I was doing what the bosses told me to do, what the legislators told me to do. Mm-hmm. But that took me into something called the Regional Coalition, where I was at the UB Regional Institute. And while I was doing that, one of our subcommittees was tourism and culture. Mm. And we did a lot of tourism work, but we hadn't done like culture, right? I mean, even though it was part of the name. And so this was, just after Hurricane Katrina, and obviously helping New Orleans was weighing heavy on my mind, but anyone who knows me well at all knows I wasn't going to go down and swing a hammer. Mm-hmm. Those people had been through enough. I was not going to make anyone try to live in a house that I built. And I was kind of like, what can I do, right? And there was a grant that came out called the New York State Music Fund. It was Elliot Spitzer, back before the scandal, back before he was governor. He was actually the attorney general at the time. Okay. And it was the payola scandal. Mm. If you remember the whole pay to play, the music, the record labels, paying radio stations. And so New York got a settlement on this. And rather than throwing it into the general fund, Spitzer created this 2-year grant, this New York State Music Fund, to help organizations or artists who would have never gotten ahead through payola. Okay. And I went back to my folks at the Regional Institute and the Regional Coalition and said, hey, so we do tourism, but we don't do culture. Mm-hmm. Could I put in for a grant to bring New Orleans artists who at the time needed gigs? Mm-hmm. I mean, even the biggest ones, like we brought Preservation Hall up, but they were using borrowed instruments. Mm-hmm. But then you had all of the smaller artists who maybe only toured like Mississippi, Texas, Louisiana. They had no gigs. Mm-hmm. So they were forced to go on the road outside of a regional tour. Right. And that first year, like we actually just paid people whatever they asked for. Mm-hmm. I've learned better since, but but it was just like, let's help, right? So I went for this grant, not thinking we would ever get it, right? And we got the second largest grant in Western New York. I think WNED might have been the first, the largest, and then the Regional Coalition, which was an ad hoc subcommittee of the Erie and Niagara County legislatures. So all of a sudden, I've got this series, right? Like I've got this Big Easy and Buffalo thing to do. 1 year, 8 shows. That's it. Well, part of what I wanted to do was make sure that the community understood why this music was important. And I wanted to take that into schools. Mm-hmm. See, I actually remembered your question. Okay. And so and so I'm like, well, we should bring someone in to do that part of it. Okay. So I reached out to Music as Art. Oh, okay. And Music as Art came in to be like the education and enrichment part of the Big Easy in Buffalo. Mm-hmm. Couple months later, in the meantime, what I didn't know was that Music as Art, they had an admin person. Okay. But it was, they already had programming. So The founding executive director thing was really ASI. I was just Robby's first executive director.
Okay.
Because really Music is Art already existed. I mean, the festival, some of the programming, but they wanted to make it a nonprofit organization, a 501c3, and, get a board together, a strategic plan, bylaws, all that good stuff. So they needed someone for that part of it. The creative stuff was already done, already rolling, already good.
Right.
But they needed a suit.
Sure.
That's what Robby would call me, at least.
Yeah.
and so I had hired them to do this one little part of the Big Easy in Buffalo, and then they turned around and said, "Can we hire you to be the executive director of Music is Art?" And so it was actually the Big Easy in Buffalo that gave me that left turn from government and policy into nonprofits. And I stayed with Music is Art until ASI was being founded. And I was asked to apply for that. It was a competitive thing. I certainly wasn't gifted the job, but I ended up getting it. And so I was their founding director and stayed there until 2017 when I frankly just needed a break and kind of came back into government now with my police job, but never gave up the Big Easy in Buffalo. So it was at Music is Art. And then it was at ASI. It came over as a program.
Right.
And then when I left ASI, it's like, well, I don't think the police department's going to let me have the Big Easy in Buffalo as a program.
Right.
So we created it as its own nonprofit in 2018 and kept it ever since. So it's interesting. Someone had asked me that question not too long ago, like whatever made you go from what you did, in government and politics and policy into the arts. And I'm like, wow, it was actually the Big Easy in Buffalo. Right. And so this 1-year series is getting ready to celebrate its 20th year next year.
Oh, wow. That's fantastic. So
by sheer force of will and dumb luck, I had never promoted a concert in my life.
Right.
The first ever concert I promoted was the Ellis Marsalis Trio.
Wow.
Yeah, good luck.
Yeah. So now what do you got cooking for the 20th anniversary? Anything fun?
Well, of course. So we got to finish out season 19. Our season runs through a Mardi Gras.
Okay.
Because again, that first year ran from like April to February. And so that's where our seasons go. So we still have a couple more in season 19. We, from the very first year, we did a Mardi Gras jam. And so we're doing another Mardi Gras jam on February 20th with CJ Chenier, the Zydeco artist from Louisiana, and Banjo Juice Jazz Band opening. That's going to be at Sportsman's.
Yep. And
just before this, so that's the Friday after Mardi Gras. Just before Mardi Gras, that Sunday, the 15th, we're doing another thing that we came up with 5 years ago. I thought it was going to be a one-off, and people seem to enjoy it. So it's Leron Zydeco and the Buffalo Touch Polka Band.
Oh, wow. Okay.
They play separately, and then they come together for a joint set.
Oh, cool.
So go back to that idea of two very different styles using the same instruments. Well, the first year we did it, by the third set, by the encore, I may have had a couple of pops, shall we say. And I got on stage to introduce the encore. And this was to a sold-out Sportsman's Tavern, which I was shocked. Lord knows how this was going to go.
Right.
And I get on stage and I'm like, all right, so you've heard Zydeco and you've heard polka and you got, Mardi Gras, but it's polka in Buffalo, Mardi Gras. Happy Mardi Gras-ski, y'all.
Yeah.
And it's stuck.
Oh, wow.
Mardi Gras-ski. We actually had to trademark it because some other clubs tried to use it.
Okay.
So this drunken rambling actually turned into this 5-year thing now.
Wow.
And now we still have the two original bands. And then last year, Captain Tom came in as an artist in residence.
Sure.
Also Kyle Yaglewski, Kid Kyle from the Brass Machine. So they were kind of floating artists that sat in with both bands individually. And then during the jam session at the end.
Wow.
That's this little side thread that we do during COVID when we couldn't bring New Orleans bands in. We started working with local bands, and eventually we kind of did this cultural connections model, which we had actually started before that with 10 Cent Howl and the Brass Machine.
Okay.
Back when they were the Buffalo Brass Machine, before they forgot where they came from. Talking to you, Kyle. And, but, and the idea was to pair up these two bands of different genres. And we've kept that going. And it's been this nice little kind of sub thread of the Big Easy in Buffalo, but going back to that spirit of all the different things that music can mean. So, so Mardi Gras-ski 5 on February 15th. And then the 19th annual Mardi Gras Jam on February 20th. Mardi Gras-ski, by the way, is at Potts Banquet Hall in lovely downtown Cheektowaga because, we need a place with a big enough dance floor and, for that group, because both bands attract dancers and we try to be good to our dancers who come out. And then Sportsman's for the wild party of the Mardi Gras Jam. Right. Then we get into season 20.
Gotcha.
And we're still in the planning phases for it, but we know we're going to add a couple of things. We're going to add a piano night. So WWOZ down in New Orleans does this as an annual fundraiser for themselves. And they usually do like 15 to 20 piano players, almost all local. And they have them do like 15 to 20 minute sets. And as one's getting up to leave, the MC is introducing the next one. And they sit right down and just play again. And it's all solo or maybe like a duo, but largely solo, mostly instrumental, some vocals. And then at the end of the night, whoever the anchor artist is starts getting a rhythm going, and then other piano players just come, and then there's 2 of them playing or 3 of them playing, and then the one on the left slides down and another one slides in, and they just kind of keep going until they're done.
Right.
So we're going to do a variation of that.
Okay.
We're going to bring in 2 New Orleans piano players. And then also do probably 4 local or regional piano players, including hopefully a student, because we always like to, that goes back to my music is art days, right? Like always involve the students or young players. And we're going to have, the locals especially do a little shorter sets. We're not going to bring in a New Orleans piano player and go, you got 15 minutes.
Sure.
But, so we're developing the lineup. We want to do that one at the Colored Musicians Club, just for the history of it and the fact that they have a good in-tune piano. So, so let's pair up with them. So that'll be a new thing. The Mardi Gras Jam in its old days used to be like 5 or 6 bands. And then it kind of contracted a little bit. Like I said, the 19th one, we're doing 1 New Orleans band, 1 local. But for the 20th, all the way in 2027, we're going to bring that back up a little bit. And Tab Benoit will be back.
Okay.
And we're going to continue our partnership with Larkin Square. We do a partnership with Borderland Music Festival. And a really exciting one, the new Ralph Wilson Park that's going to be opening next year.
Okay. Yep.
So they applied for and got a Levitt Foundation grant to do a series of 10 shows, free shows. And so they reached out to community partners. So the BPO is one of their community partners. Funk Fest is one of their community partners, which was already happening in the park. The Puerto Rican Day Parade and Festival is one of their partners. And the Big Easy in Buffalo is one of their partners. So we're going to be doing a couple of free shows next summer at the newly opened Ralph Wilson Park, which I think is just very cool. And, it's also very cool that they thought of us and reached out to us to be one of their partners on this because, it's like, oh, yeah, us and the BPO. Sure. Yeah.
Well, that'll be cool. I'll have to do some kind of combo thing because I've been doing a special series with the BPO for the last couple months. So, yeah.
Nice.
And we're going to continue that in 2026. So I'm looking forward to that. But, it is crazy, though, how our community does really work together and cross-mogenates to use Austin Powers there. And, but everyone works together, I think for the most part. Of course, there's always some of that stuff going on, that you don't like to hear. But for the most part, musicians are all happy to work together and just, hey, what do you do? What do I, let's kind of work together and figure out what we could do and just make music.
Yeah, well, I really find that, especially with that Cultural Connection series. So like the first one that we did with 10 Cent Howl and the Brass Machine was back at Canalside.
Okay.
During my ASI days, we would help program some of the stuff at Canalside. And so I'm like, yeah, let's try this. And really, all the best ideas have been done already.
Right.
And so for anyone like interested in this sort of thing, go on YouTube. It's a David Letterman clip of Del McCoury Band and Preservation Hall Jazz Band. They did an album together. They did a live performance. That's where that idea came from, right? With a brass band and an Americana band. And, I reached out to both of them and I'm like, and by the way, this was Brass Machine, like maybe their first or second year in existence.
Okay.
So very young, and 10 Cent Howl, this was during the time that they had Teresa Weekly as their fiddle player.
Okay.
So that era for them. And I'm like, hey, would you be interested in doing this? And both of them were like, well, what do you think that's going to sound like when we come together? I'm like, oh, I don't know. And that became the tagline. Like, what happens when an Americana band and a New Orleans style brass band get together and play? We don't know either. Come find out.
Yeah.
And that's like the whole idea.
Right.
And all we need are people who are good musicians and willing to try it.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't have to work perfectly.
Sure.
Some of them have not worked perfectly, but they've all been fun. They've all been good attempts, right? And some of them have been amazing. Man, we did Organ Fairchild with Karina and the Six-String Preacher.
Right.
Oh, my Lord. The third set of that is up on our website and,
Okay.
or on our Facebook page. And Buffalo FM, they do a lot of the filming for us.
Mm-hmm.
They did Bizarre Love Triangle, Summertime, and a couple other songs, and just... Sweet Dreams was one of them.
Okay.
And man, it was just brilliant. It was so good. It was not what I expected in such a good way.
Mm-hmm.
And then we did like Captain Tom and the Hooligans with the brass machine. And that was a delightful mess.
Right.
It was great. It was great.
Yeah.
But boy, it was loose as can be. And, so many musicians on the stage, and just fun. Right. So I agree with you. Like people seem very willing.
Mm-hmm.
And I get it. There's only so many gigs.
Yeah.
There's only so much space. I've always thought, like even when I was teaching advocacy for the arts and such, there's two things, right? It's perfectly okay to say why you're good.
Mm-hmm.
But there's lots of ways to say you're good without saying, and better than this other person.
Sure.
Or I'm good and they're not, right? Just speak about why you're worth being involved and being there, and let it go from there. Because of course, here's the thing. And I have this when bands approach me too, to get a gig or whatever. They'll be like, oh yeah, we're so good. We're the best this kind of band in Buffalo or whatever. Or we're the best this kind of band in New Orleans. And if you hire this other band, man, they're not going to show up, or they're going to do this, or they're going to do that. And I'm like, but you don't know if I like that band.
Right.
You don't know if I've worked with that band,
Yeah.
Like I was digging what you were saying when you were saying I should work with you.
Right.
But now you're kind of like putting down someone else. Like, you don't know. Heck, that band could be my brother-in-law's band.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Like, just talk about why you're good. And I always would say that to like nonprofit organizations too. Speak to your merits. If you're trying to get funding from the county or the city or whatever,
Sure.
like speak to your merits. What do you do? Not what do you do that someone else doesn't, or what do you do better? Stake out your claim.
Right.
And live by it. Because, man, we got lots of good stuff.
Oh, gosh, yes. Yeah.
And there's room for us all.
Yeah, I say that I'm not the only podcast in town, that's talking about music. And, God bless, my good buddy Jeff Myers. And, he's got his Why Music Matters podcast. And it's, we're kind of doing our own thing, but similar, and I'm like, I was just a guest on his not too long ago, his podcast. And I says, yeah, it's like there's room in the sandbox for all of us.
Oh, yeah.
It's like we don't have to be like, oh, you took the guest that I wanted to, or, something like that. It's like, no, oh, wow, cool, you had that. That's awesome. That's a great idea, and how can we, but I'm just sticking to my mission to kind of tell the story of Buffalo. And, and as more and more folks like you come on the podcast, the pieces of the puzzle really start to form something. It's definitely the sum of the whole is greater than the sum of the parts.
Oh, without a doubt.
When you put it all together.
Yeah, and it's interesting because, I know a lot of the people that you have on the podcast, they're musicians. I am not a musician.
Right.
And it was just a matter of, but I love music, live music, going to a concert. That is like one of the highest and best things I can do.
Right.
Like that, I come down from a concert very slowly afterwards. Like I can't go to sleep afterwards.
Yeah.
You see something good. It's amazing. It's so transformative. Right. So that's where I come from. And I'm like, well, how can I get involved? And music is art really kind of taught me that because, Robby was the one everyone wanted to see.
Sure.
If I walked into a room for a meeting and he wasn't there, it was like, oh, you, but I could help. Right. I mean, like they didn't need someone to figure out the programming. They needed someone to figure out the structure. And Tracy, God bless her, she tells me now, even to this day, that some of the stuff that I was kind of like trying to put in place or whatever is stuff that they refer back to.
Mm-hmm.
Now, it's not the stuff the public sees. It's not the important stuff in terms of the programming and the mission, but it's the underlying structure that helps it.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I would go into schools, for Music is Art and talk to the kids, and I would say, well, how many of you want to be in the music business or be in the music industry? And a lot of people would kind of raise, well, why aren't you that enthusiastic about raising your hand? Well, I don't think I'm that great of a musician, or I'm not really going to be a musician or whatever. My dad wants me to be a lawyer. I'm like, so why can't you be in the music industry then? If you're a lawyer, or if you're an accountant, or if you're a marketing person, or, if you love music, get on the board of a music-based nonprofit.
Sure.
Or, just go to the shows. Go to you putting down your money to go to a show and then buying some music, buying a t-shirt, posting on Facebook. Hey, this band I love is coming to town. Who wants to go? Yeah. Like, you're part of it, and you're an incredibly important part of it. And so it's kind of getting comfortable in the space of like, where do you fit in, and where do I fit in, and how can I help?
Right.
And that's really what it comes down to. Like, I'm not going to be a musician at this point. I mean, I've played on stage one time, and that was on my 40th birthday at the Music is Art Festival. I sat in with Leron Zydeco. I've been playing like harmonica all my life, and that was it. And I didn't even tell anyone I was doing it. Robby was like passing by, and he posted on Facebook a picture of me and Leron with like 20 exclamation points because he had no idea. But that's it. I'm not one of those guys that's going to force my way onto the stage with the band. It's like, y'all are an actual professional touring band.
Right.
I am not. So let me introduce you. Let me raise the money to pay for you to be here. And then let me just enjoy the show.
Sure. Well, and that's kind of similar to what I do. I mean, I do sing, with a buddy of mine and perform a little bit. We just did a cabaret a couple weeks ago, and have a lot of fun with it. But that behind the scenes, and I think that's just as important, to highlight folks, like you on the podcast, because or venue owners. I've had the folks from Ironworks down. I mean, they're not musicians, but they're supporting the music, and it's all part of the puzzle, right? Part of the pie.
And actually, I want to just give a shout out to the venues too, right? Because we don't have a venue. Like, we're not a performing arts center where we are like, okay, this is our slate of shows here. We rely on some incredibly generous folks to welcome us in and make space for us and treat us really, really well. And Buffalo Ironworks is one of them. Sportsman's Tavern is one of them. The Town Ballroom. We used to be at the Tralf quite a bit. Duende at Silo City.
Sure.
We used to be at the Strand Theater. Art Park, we do co-presentations with them. And then public spaces like Larkin and Borderland, getting a space at their festival. Now the new, Wilson Park. It's been, the Ninth Ward at Bayville. I realized as soon as I started, I'm going to leave someone out. So I apologize to whoever I just left out, because whenever I make a list, there's one missing.
Yeah.
But it's something to see all of them be so cool about welcoming us in, especially because when I say we present the depth and breadth, Tab Benoit will be here, Preservation Hall Jazz Band will be here, Trombone Shorty will be here, but most of the bands are bands that might be here for the first time. Or they only have so much of an audience, and that's kind of where it's plateaued. Or it's maybe even their first national tour. And that's our sweet spot, right? Because I'm able to use those grant funds to subsidize the show. That's why we're a nonprofit and not just a concert promoter, right? So it's mission driven. It's not, I could just reach out to the top 10 moneymakers and just put on a series every year. But that's not why we exist. And so to go to a place like Sportsman's, which is in demand. I mean, everybody wants to play there. They certainly don't need the Big Easy in Buffalo there, to fill out their schedule. And for me to say to them, we might get 50 people, and them to say to me, okay, then you're getting a Tuesday, but yeah, sure. No, you can still come. I'm kidding about that. They'll give me a weekend with a 50-person show. But then, of course, when we hit upon someone and we have a growing audience and we have someone that's, drawing a couple hundred, I keep that show there so that I can, be loyal and help the folks who are helping me when
Sure.
the first time I brought in someone and we had 20 or 30 or 50. So yeah, those venues are so important to the ecosystem. And again, I mean, I don't work with every venue. I can't speak to every venue, and everyone has different experiences with folks, but man, I mean, just the willingness and the generosity of all of those places, like, we love them.
Yeah. No, it's a fantastic scene, and I know different venue owners too work together, and they'll co-book a show.
Oh yeah.
You have it at let's have it at my place here. Let's have it. I know I'm going up to Toronto a few weeks back to see J.D. McPherson, and I know when he was here. I think Sportsman's and the town put that together, but they had a Sportsman's Park. So it was a nice collaboration of venues that are like, it's the same thing. Yeah, we can play in the Sandbox. And I know the town and Ironworks are doing stuff together, and Ironworks is doing stuff with Bayville. And, they're all kind of like, we can get this band, but we might need a slightly bigger place. So let's bring it at your place, but we'll cross promote it. And,
yeah, there's not a lot of cutthroat going on.
No.
And honestly, usually the ones who are the ones that don't last.
Right. Yeah, because this town doesn't put up with that.
Right. And of course, it's interesting because, like, to the people who are just coming to see a show,
right,
they don't know any of that. Right.
No.
I mean,
yeah,
but they know the vibe.
Right.
Right. Like, they know the experience they have when they come in. And, there have been times when you've come into a place and you're like, this isn't that cool of a place.
Right.
Like, authenticity is it. Right. A quick story about the whole authenticity thing. Right. So, again, my ASI days would go to the National Americans for the Arts Conference. And the one year it was in San Antonio. So we did a quick side trip to Austin because they, obviously have cultural planning down. And we were studying it for Western New York. Luckily, Erie County is actually pursuing cultural planning now. But we went out there, and the head of their arts council at the time, really, really cool person. Like, if you were like, okay, so who's like working with the arts in Austin, you would think of like this person, tattooed, musician, rocker chick, fantastic. So she's taking me around, and we went to like 3 or 4 different places. She's like, oh, go do the touristy places. You should see them. And then I'm going to take you out at night. So we went to dinner one place, then we stopped in at another place, stopped in at a third place. And, all of the places, it's like we went in and there was like memorabilia on the walls and tin roof, and old wood and all this other stuff. And I'm like, I got to be honest with you. Like, I didn't think Austin had this much stuff that was like this old and this weathered and this, authentic, right? She's like, oh no, that's the great thing. All of these places have just been like totally transformed and rebuilt over the last few years. And I'm like, wait, so the supposed coolest city in America is redesigning their spaces to look like the stuff we already have, to look like Darren's Tavern on the corner of Howard and Metcalf,
right? Yeah.
With the tin roof or whatever, or, like any of those old places. And I'm like, oh my God, like, what do we have here that we don't fully embrace and understand? Like those old places, and you think about walking into a space like that, even for a show, like you walk into Sportsman's Tavern and obviously they've expanded and changed a little bit, but it's still the heart of the old place. Right.
Yeah.
And like, you get a sense that it's not a bunch of stuff they bought off eBay. Like, that's their space.
Right. Yep.
And so many of the places that we have around here are like that. And that was like a mind-blowing moment for me that, it really is about the authentic. It really is about being honest with yourself and your patrons and everyone. And you get that like when you see a band on stage too.
Yeah.
You get when they're putting on a show or when they're playing, and don't get me wrong, putting on a show is important, but like if they believe it and they feel it and they're doing what they love, it doesn't matter if they only do it on the weekend or they make a full-time living doing it. Like, you see it.
Yeah. Yeah. And you can feel it. Well, it's kind of like what I'm trying to do down here, as you can see, there's all and I tell everyone, there's a story behind everything,
Yes. My favorite was hearing the story behind your 25-year-old bottle of Krupnik.
Yeah.
Because again, anyone who knows me
right.
knows that bottle of Krupnik may or may not still be there at the end of the evening.
That's and I don't know. I think I got it from my father.
All right, now I might have to leave it.
Yeah. So, but because they had a liquor cabinet. My mom's like, "Do you want this stuff? We don't take of it anymore." And there was some really old, bad whiskey. It wasn't like had gone bad. It was just bad. It was like rotten gut stuff.
It didn't
It's
go
like,
bad. It started bad.
It started bad. But it's interesting that you did see the Krupnik over there, which is. But it adds and like I tell people, I mean this, my lounge down here, my Flamingo Lounge. This has been a 18-year process of bringing stuff in, and then I kind of I've told the story where out by Eastern Hills Mall they tried to Hennessy's Irish pub, right? So my last name's Hennessy, so they brought in real rock from Ireland and tried to make a real like pub, but you can't do that like new. It has to has to live, it has to breathe, it has to tell stories. It's like you go to Ulrich's Tavern, for example, downtown. I mean, that place talks. You see those walls.
Founding fathers.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly. Yeah.
I mean, you couldn't build a place like that if you wanted to now.
No, because it takes time to patina and all that good kind of stuff. But just kind of build the story over time, and then people bring stuff and here, take this, and
and that unfortunately makes me think of so many of the places that aren't there no more, right?
Right,
and every city has that, but boy, so you mentioned St. Adalbert's, and I do the tours of St. Adalbert's for Explore Buffalo, and when we're telling the story of a place, we're telling the story of a people, we're telling the story of a neighborhood, we're telling the story of the city, and I always end by saying, so here's the thing. It doesn't have to be a church, right? Think of a place that's important to you, a store, a bar, a restaurant, a neighborhood, a church, whatever, and go back there. Like start going there again is what I'll say to the folks on the tour. I'm like, you did that today by coming to us, right?
Right.
But once they're gone, they're gone. You're not getting these places back. And some of them have a natural life cycle. I think about some of the old bars on the east side and, Darren's Tavern and R&L Lounge and the number of places that have closed down. And they largely closed down because the folks got older or passed away and, family maybe didn't want to take it or there were no family to take it. And they eventually go away. You don't know, like the Happy Swallow. Although they're trying to bring that back. First off, best bar name in Buffalo, right? The Happy Swallow. And they would do their 1 day a week food on Friday, a fish fry, one of the best fish fries in Buffalo. And my folks and I went there for a fish fry. Just we do every once in a while. And I almost didn't want to go that Friday. I'm like, all right, fine, let's go. So we go there for a fish fry. And that was the last fish fry. We had no idea. Nobody had any idea.
Right.
They didn't have any idea either. They were closed down by the city. But, it just goes at some point. Same thing with Darren's Tavern or R&L or whatever. At a certain point, you're just like, well, that's it. It's done. And so don't wait for the next time. And when we think about that, we were just talking about the Mavericks before we started the podcast. We were talking about Brian Setzer before we started the podcast. Same thing. Like I never got to see the Mavericks.
Right.
They were on so many bills of festivals I was at or that I was thinking of going to, and I never got around to it.
Yeah.
And now, even if the band continues, without Raul, it's going to be a very different sounding band. And I'll probably still go see them if I can.
Sure. Yeah.
But you just don't know. So go back, and that transcends into all of our bands here too. Someone moves away, someone decides, I'm done playing or whatever else. Right. And that's the last time you see them. I mean, I hate to say I'm bringing everything down here, but express joy and go and experience it and just love it when you're there.
Yeah.
Right.
It's like I kick myself because I should have gone to see Glenn Campbell when he was at UB. And I didn't know, that he was ill and fighting the Alzheimer's, and next time, right?
Yeah.
You always say, sometimes I got to see Ray Charles at UB. He passed away, I think about a year after he played at UB.
Yeah.
And it was like, wow.
My biggest next time was Stevie Ray Vaughan.
Yeah.
I had tickets to that last show at Darien, and I did not go.
Oh, man. Oh.
And I can't even tell you what it was. I don't know why I didn't go, but I didn't go. And, man, you kick yourself, right? I mean, but...
Right.
So buy the tickets, go to the show, go to that restaurant, go to that bar, and, and then tell other people about it.
Yeah.
If you liked it. If you didn't like it, keep it to yourself. Don't hurt anyone. But
that's right. I know my brother had tickets to go see Led Zeppelin, but John Bonham passed away, right before the Buffalo show. So, unfortunately it was the opposite. So, but it's like, man, yeah. Now I'm that way. It's like, hey, this is a bucket list. It might not be my most favorite band, but it's like, no, these people, I want to see this person because of who they are.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't want to miss out.
Yeah.
And,
although it's interesting because there is a little bit of an inverse with that I've experienced, at least. Like B.B. King, one of my favorites, right? Not a New Orleans guy, obviously, not a Louisiana guy, but one of my favorites, one of my absolute favorites. And as he got older, he would, talk more, and it would be a little rambling. He'd play less, and it just objectively wasn't that great of a show. And unfortunately, audiences were starting to get a little restless with him and such. And I'll tell you, at a certain point, I was like, I know I should go see him every single time he comes because it might be the last time.
Sure.
And he's a legend. But at the same time, I think I'm done because I want to remember all of the good times I saw him. And I saw him a lot of times.
Yeah.
Well, it turns out then the next year, I think, or whatever, I was at Jazz Fest and he was playing in the Blues Tent. And I actually was not going to go see him because I kind of had said that to myself. I mean, and Lord knows there's enough other bands going on at Jazz Fest, but I was walking by the Blues Tent and he was playing the opening licks to The Thrill Is Gone. So I stepped inside the Blues Tent.
Right.
And it was amazing. He was so good. And I'm like, oh, wait, maybe I abandoned this guy a little too soon.
Right.
And then he finished The Thrill Is Gone and started talking about Viagra. And I'm like, no. Okay, that was the coda. that was the last one. So you kind of have to make your own choices at that. But it's kind of an extreme thing. Like, Buddy Guy, though, saw him at Seneca Niagara when he was just here. And obviously he's not doing as much as he used to. He's not playing as much or whatever. He's enjoying this weird, very late career renaissance because of Sinners. Right. I think he's had more second careers. He's had more lives than a cat, right? But it was a shorter show and it was, some of the greatest hits, some playing and pyrotechnics, but I'm like, yeah, I probably will still go see him again, but I still got to remember when I really saw him, And so I don't know, but yeah, I'm with you, especially if I've never seen a band before. It's like, go take a chance on it. And I'll tell you, we, bringing it back around to the Big Easy in Buffalo, more and more, especially when it became its own nonprofit, so we're able to do more frequent shows. We usually do about 12 to 15 a year. Okay. Between the purely New Orleans ones and then the purely Buffalo ones. And we start to get more and more people who might show up at a show, especially because a lot of them are either free or $15 or $20. We try to keep them reasonable when we can. Yeah. And they'll come and someone will say to me, you know what? I didn't know who this band was, but you're bringing them. And, I haven't seen anyone that you've brought who hasn't been good. Right. Not all of them have been what I've loved. Right. But they've been quality. And that to me was the biggest compliment. Yeah. And I remember I used to feel that way about Lafayette Tap Room back in the day. Yeah. I might not have loved the show that I stumbled into. Right. But it wasn't because it was bad. Yeah. Or it wasn't good quality. It just wasn't my thing. Yeah. Right. And I feel like Sportsman's is that now, and there's a number of places there, but take a chance on something that sounds maybe like something you like, or just, hey, I'm looking for something to do on a Friday. You'll go on Netflix and start playing a movie you've never heard of before. That's probably not very good. It's yeah, put on your boots and go out and see what's going on at Ironworks or at the town or wherever, especially the smaller places where there's not much of a cover. Sure.
You might as well. What you just kind of kicked my memory. One of my favorite Lafayette tap room stories was when I was with the Buffalo Music Hall of Fame. We used to have our after parties over there at the Lafayette tap room, which to me that was always more fun than the ceremony. The ceremony was good and everyone performed and all that.
Right.
But after one of the shows, we got to see Mo jam with Dr. Lonnie Smith.
Wow.
And that was incredible.
How does that even happen?
I know. They were all there because they got inducted the same year.
Oh, okay.
So they were inducted in the same class, and it was just one of those. It's like, yeah, you'll never see this again.
No.
Well, and of course with Dr. Lonnie being gone, and watching him play too at the 12 at the time.
Oh yeah,
it's crazy. I got to stand behind him because being part of the show. And
yeah, he was actually part of one of those piano nights at WWOZ.
Okay.
And it was amazing getting to see him stripped down and playing in that venue too. But yeah, my favorite Lafayette taproom story was Clarence Gatemouth Brown. So Gate was there playing. And, the only thing about the tap room is you would have people that would go there after work, and most of them would clear out before the show started, but not all of them, not always. And Gate was playing a slow song, and he was a little bit of a temperamental artist. He was a great artist, but like if you called him a blues artist, he'd get mad. He's like, I play American music, Texas style. That was Clarence Gatemouth Brown.
Okay.
And so he's playing something kind of slow, gentle, quiet on his guitar. And there's this guy who was clearly there left over from happy hour trying to get the bartender's attention. Hey, can I get another beer? Give me another beer. And I mean, like, he had one of those voices, kind of like mine, where it's just loud, right? And it's just distinct. And Gates kind of playing and looking up. And finally Gates stops. And I assume I'm not allowed to swear profusely and repeatedly on this show.
All right. Doesn't matter.
All right. Well, so Gate, I'm paraphrasing, but he's like, shut the fuck up. Whoever this guy is, shut him the fuck. You know what? No, don't even shut him up. Get him out of here. Get him the fuck out of here. I'm not playing another note until he leaves. If he paid to get in, give him his money back. Take it out of my check. I don't care. Get him out of here. And now at this point, because he's not playing anymore, the crowd starts to figure out who it is that Gates talking about.
Okay.
And the crowd starts to turn on this guy who is completely unaware that this is happening and he is the cause of it. Because he's just trying to get another beer.
Right.
So the door guy comes over, gets the guy's flabbergasted. And then, of course, he's making a stink getting out. And the best part of this, of course, is at the tap room, the front door was right next to the stage.
Right.
So this guy's getting paraded out as Gates looking at him and motherfucking him up, down, sideways.
Right.
The guy leaves. The audience claps. What nobody noticed was Gate was holding his fingers on the guitar on the note he had stopped playing.
Oh, wow.
And just picked it up again.
Wow.
I'm like,
crazy.
That is amazing. And then he went back to putting on an amazing show. But like it's always those stories that you remember like long after the tap room or long after a venue or whatever. But couldn't tell you the name of the song. I think the song turned into "Get This Motherfucker Out of Here."
I had a similar experience. We went to my ex-wife and I went up to Rochester, the Jiva Theater. We couldn't make the show here at Shays, but Harry Connick Jr. was playing up there. And that was when he was on Will and Grace, right? So he's on stage, and of course, Harry is the consummate musician too. I mean, he's not up there to be the center guy. I mean, he's a jazz musician. They're all playing their music, and someone out of the audience yells, "Leo!" Right? That was his character name. So he's like, "Yeah, I play Leo on Will and Grace," and he kind of laughed it off, and it was cool. But she kept yelling that the whole show, and he finally got really pissed, and was like, "All right, yeah." Kind of a shut the fuck up, and afterwards we did he had a meet and greet, and I had bought the meet and greet tickets so we could meet him, and I think the the money was going to Save the Music Foundation or something like that. And he was like the soup Nazi. I mean, he just had his head down and he was autographing stuff, and he'd sign something, he wouldn't look at anybody, and they'd whisk you out the side door. And I'm like, well, this kind of sucks, right? So I looked at him and I put my hand on his shoulder, and he looked up, and I said, Harry, I just want to let you know, because of you, I'm getting lucky tonight. And he grinned from ear to ear, and he says, glad I could help out. So for my $130, I got a story out of
nice,
it. So,
nice.
But it's like, come on, guys, just, I can't imagine, being like that. And he's trying to concentrate on his music. And
see, my experience with Harry Connick is a little bit different than that, because I actually rode in his Mardi Gras crew.
Oh, wow.
The crew of Orpheus, 20 plus years ago now.
Right.
And so it's a super crew, so there's like a few thousand of us riding.
Right.
But we staged for the ride in the New Orleans Convention Center. Like all the floats were inside the convention center.
Sure. Yeah.
And you're loading your stuff up and everything else. And there's a lunch and a little press conference and everything else before you go. Well, Harry stopped at every one of the floats to talk to people, to shake hands or whatever.
Sure.
Then, you go on the parade, and the parade ends back inside the convention center for a ball, for its grand ball. And all your family and friends, like the girl I was dating at the time and another friend of mine, were waiting. They're in their evening gowns. I'm still in my like crew uniform and my costume, You jump off the float. Harry jumps off his float, jumps on stage. Brad Paisley was one of the monarchs, so he's on stage with him, a few other people. Okay. And it was just a drunken good time party.
Wow.
But Harry was the nicest guy, like you were saying, like he's got his head down signing autographs. In this, where he was kind of like just with his people. Yeah. With his crew, like he's a New Orleans guy.
Yeah.
He was just, the coolest guy, just like the friendliest guy or whatever. But then, when he got to the press conference, you could tell he had a job to do.
Right. Yeah.
And then when the press conference was over, then it was like, oh, let me just have fun.
Yeah.
I also want to go back because I realized I should not leave the last memory of people with B.B. King to be the Viagra story. I will say that I got a chance to do a meet and greet with B.B. King once, and I was in the last group. It was, I think, maybe 10 or 12 groups of 10. And he spent like a half hour with each group.
Yeah.
Including us, including the last group. Right. I mean, it was like hours after the show finished.
Wow. Yeah.
He has us in. And he's like, oh, everyone have a seat. He's like, would anyone like something to drink? Well, of course, people are figuring then he's got a person to bring you something to drink. No, he's going to the refrigerator to get you something to drink.
Yeah.
And he's autographing and telling stories and asking, oh, where are you from? And and this was like at the height of, of his fame and his career and everything else. And I'm like, oh my God. Yeah. Like I should be shining your shoes and you're fetching me a lovely beverage. Like just such a sweet guy, like such a nice guy. Yeah. And just that again, a memory that'll stay with me forever. Yeah. And I was able to get a picture with him and, and I had more hair. He had more hair.
Yeah, I think it was like at least 25 years ago. I worked for a company, and one of the guys that worked for us lived in Canada. So I was second shift, so he was going home, 11:30, 12 o'clock at night, crossing the border. And I think it was Rainbow Bridge, and B.B. King's bus was pulled over to the side. And he decided, I'm going to stop. He went over, knocked on the door, and B.B. King invited him into the bus. He stayed for like a half an hour, told stories. He's like, he was a great guy. It's like, most people would be like, arrest this guy,
Well, it also, it speaks to the values. I mean, we were talking before about like remembering where you came from and kind of like just what's instilled in you from a young age. I mean, you forget that like people like B.B. King or Buddy Guy or whatever, like growing up down south and at the time they grew up, I mean, they experienced a hell of a life when they were young, and then they achieve this fame, and you can go one of two ways with that. You can either just be an absolute dick and you've earned it. Like, like for everything I had to go through, now that I got money, now that I got fame, or you can remember that and sort of go, I'm never going to treat someone like that again.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be the reason someone has that experience or that bad day or what have you.
Yeah.
Kind of like what we were talking about. You can say why you're good without saying why someone else is bad.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing. It's like, it's a simple thing and it's a long process. I mean, I'm not going to lie. It took me a lot of years to figure that out, but it's like, I don't want to be the reason that someone else is having a bad day. Mm-hmm. Now, some of my former staff or some of my former people I used to work with in my earlier career may be like, could he have learned that a little earlier?
Yeah.
But hopefully more good than bad. And it's an ever evolving thing.
Right. Yeah, we all learn.
Like, just be nice.
Exactly.
Or like the sign says in my office, be nice or leave.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody seems to pay attention to that sign.
Right. Well, Todd, believe it or not, we're at the top of the hour.
Oh, wow.
We've chatted. Before I leave though, I don't know if you saw my crew flag over here on the door. The crew of Flamboyance is down here. So.
Oh, awesome! Is that an actual Mardi Gras crew?
Well, that's my wife and I kind of made that. We had a Mardi Gras party here.
Oh, awesome! Yeah. I like it. I do like it. And, Flamboyance of Flamingos.
Yes.
My current crew is the crew of Tux.
Okay.
The sub crew of Funky Uncle. So that's the one I've been parading with the last couple of years. So if
gotcha.
you're ever in New Orleans, the Saturday before Mardi Gras, yell out Big Easy in Buffalo, and I'll throw you something.
There you go. Well, Todd, again, I can't thank you enough for coming down. This has been fun.
Thank you. Thank you.
Been fun talking music. And before we leave, though, how can people find out what's happening with Big Easy?
Oh, yeah, that would be a good thing to tell people. So our website is thebigeasyinbuffalo.org. Our Facebook page, which is where we do most of our posting and announcements and such, facebook.com/thebigeasyinbuffalo. And we have a little email list. We don't sell it to anyone else, So definitely. Hopefully, we'll see you at a show because
sure.
Don't come because of me. Come because of the music and the artists and such. But man, it's a good time.
Yeah, and I will have all those links at rockabillygreg.com where it's all about the music. And again, Todd, thanks for coming down. And for everyone who's tuned in, we hope you had just as much fun as we did. And as always, you can find the podcast where you find your podcasts at Spotify, Amazon Audible, iHeartRadio, Apple Music, thebuffalohive.com. YouTube now is also available. And as I mentioned, rockabillygreg.com, where it's all about the music. I will have links to videos that Todd had talked about earlier in the show, links to where you can find him on social media and on the website, and find out what's going on with the Big Easy in Buffalo. And you say, come see a show. You might love what you don't know what you love. So
nice. Yeah.
So again, Todd, thanks for coming down. Appreciate it.
In the spirit of the whole flamingo theme, I will say dziękuję.
Oh, there you go.
Which is Polish for thank you. I didn't just cuss at you.
I know that. I have my first wife and my latest wife, we all Polish, so I know dziękuję very well. So thank you, dziękuję, right back at you. So for everyone who's tuned in again, thanks so much, and we'll see you next week. Bye-bye. In the Flamingo Lounge is made possible in part by CatsLikeUs.com, your online store for authentic vintage clothing and accessories. Buffalo Ironworks, an intimate live music venue and bar located in the Cobblestone District in downtown Buffalo. And by Diamond Hawk Golf Course and Pub, Western New York's premier golf course, restaurant, and banquet facility. At the Hawk, the bar is hopping year-round with live music every Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday, and some other nights, too. Tune in for a new episode every Saturday at 9 a.m. EST at rockabillygreg.com, where it's all about the music. Bark, Zoe, bark. Good girl.